You've heard it 100 times, not your keys, not your coins. So you moved your crypto off exchanges and into your hard wallet. And that's smart. But here's what nobody else tells you. Every day your crypto just sits there, you're losing money. Not because the price is dropping, but because the capital is idle. While farming opportunity cost is the invisible tax you pay for doing nothing. While most people are bragging about self-custody, the real players are earning yield, farming rewards, and compounding. All from assets that others are letting collect dust. So in this video, we're breaking down why holding crypto in a crypto wallet can be quietly costing you thousands of dollars, potentially per month, and how to put that capital to work safely, strategically, and without turning into a full-time trader. So let's get into this. So, like I said, we're going to talk about, well, I believe you should be putting some of your portfolio to cash. I'm going to talk about exactly how much, I believe you should do. Obviously, you should do your own research, etc. But before that, bull run's coming. At the time I recorded, my portfolio just hit a new milestone, which is $1.3 million. And that came from price appreciation. But a lot of it, not a lot of it, but a decent percent, a big percent, came from using the strategy that we're going to talk about, which is using yield farming to get more coins. And those free coins that I've been earning for the last 6 months, 1 year, price comes up in altcoins, price comes up in Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, they're now being worth more. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's talk about the math and the mindset of the opportunity costs that most people are missing out. Now, before I get started, I'm not telling everybody to go 100% and go and get some yield farming. That's not what I'm saying at all. Most people in crypto think safe means doing nothing. And it is, right? But if you're doing nothing, it is still a position, right? It's just one that quietly loses yield. If you have 100% in Bitcoin, which is probably the most safest strategy, except from obviously USDC, but there's no point doing that unless you're in a yield farming position because you can get cash in that. We'll talk about that. But if you're in Bitcoin, you're still in a position, right? You're still in a potentially risk-on asset because it could go down in value, and obviously we know that. Now, if we break it down, what I want to talk about is if you're saying, for example, if you're holding $10,000 in Ethereum, $10,000 in XRP, if you're a bigger player, that could be $100,000. If you're a smaller player, it could be $1,000. You get the point. And if you're not staking, you're not doing yield, and you're not lending, at today's rates, just by looking at a safe pool, those same XRP and Ethereum could be generating you yield of roughly 8 to 12% APY every single month. And again, proof in the pudding here, because you can see here 136%. A lot of our guys in our community are doing this. Brock is one of our main guys doing this, making 4K per week, 16K per month. He's actually more than that now because he's compounding, and Ethereum and XRP are starting to go up in value. But you can see here, decent TVL, decent liquidity, decent coins, decent platform. You're missing out on 10% per month. So you can do the math on how much that would be for your portfolio. It starts to stack up, especially with XRP and Ethereum in this example start to go crazy. But if you had the 20K, 10K, 10K in each, you'd in a year made your 20K initial capital back, let alone on compounding fees, and let alone if XRP and Ethereum went up in value, like we believe they obviously are in this bull run. And that's just by delegating it. So it's absolutely crazy the amount of fees you can make if you put your assets to work. Now, again, if you have $20,000 and that was your full portfolio, no way would I tell you to do this because that's not what you want to do. You want to get your feet wet first. But when you don't put your assets to work, you're not avoiding risk. Just keep that in mind. You're paying an opportunity tax of $20,000 per year in this example, and that's just one position. So imagine you had the same principle across your stable coins, your other tokens, your bigger caps, your smaller caps, etc., and you're just leaving them sitting there, right? That safe capital could and would be compounding instead of collecting dust. So another angle I could give you is the opportunity cost isn't just about missing yield, it's about mispositioning. So what do I mean by that? Well, while your wallet sits idle, your coins sit there idle, restakers are earning base plus EGN layer points. RWA protocols are paying treasury-backed yield on coins. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. And deep end providers are generating real income from storage, compute, and bandwidth. So there's so far down the wagon you can take this. I'm not going to get in the weeds with this kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about coins, and then you can scale this beyond. But there's so far you can take this, and there's many layers you can go down. But what I can tell you is the longer you wait, the more you're going to lose out. If you had this same pool that has been paying consistently, the XRP and Ethereum pool, 8 to 12% per month, it's been higher than that, it's been lower than that. On average, it's been about 8 to 12% per month. Trust me, I know, because we've been positioning this portfolio and we've been seeing our group members stay in this position for about 1 year. And it's crazy the amount of, fees you could have made for free by doing nothing. Obviously, you have to believe in XRP and Ethereum. I'm not telling you guys to buy XRP and Ethereum if you don't have those in your initial portfolio. But if we go back a year ago and you did have them, not only the coins went up, not only the fees stayed the same, you would have had your initial capital back at those basic price targets, plus the potential of XRP and Ethereum going up, plus compounding, which puts this on steroids, which is pretty crazy. And in crypto, as we know, time compounds faster than price. So another example, Some more riskier pool because it is a meme coin, but I've had this pool for a year time, or I had it for a year. I had Ethereum and Brett, and pretty much what I wanted to do is exactly what the XRP and Ethereum position was. I had Ethereum, I had Brett, and I decided, well, I already have these coins with bull run. Let me find a pool and a yield farming position. And while I was sitting there, I was looking at Uniswap, for example, and I found a pool, guess what, that was paying pretty consistently, good fees, bad fees, but over the long term, that's what we track. We don't track tomorrow's fees. We track 6 months fees. We track last 30-day fees. If we want to go further, we track 1 year fees. And you can see they're $48,000. But the kicker is, for me, I have made an extra $254,000 Brett. If Brett does well, that's when this gets crazy. And obviously, Ethereum has went significantly up since 1 year ago today. As you can see, at the time of recording, Ethereum, give or take, was at 2.4K. It's now at 4.4K. So all the extra 7.2 Ethereum, I collected, I made an extra $2,000 on each coin. That's an extra $14,000, let alone when it's accumulating free coins down here. Brett, if you look at last year, it's been up, it's been down, it's been down, it's been blah, blah, blah. But the whole point is I've earned more coins for this bull run. And that really is the kicker with this part of the video. So here's the twist. I'm not telling you guys to throw all your money in random FARs and random LP positions, because that's Jeffrey behavior. That's going down the rabbit hole of buying 100x moon coin that you don't know if it's going to go up, and you just don't research anything, but you have $1,000 and you want to make $100,000, you just buy something randomly. That is Jeffrey behavior. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm telling you guys, if you have coins you already want to accumulate more for this bull run, that's what you should do for a certain position of your portfolio, because opportunity costs only matter when yields are sustainable. Real yield and proven protocols equals deep liquidity. The goal isn't to chase 1,000% APY. It's to keep your capital working safely on coins you like 24/7. So when you look at your wallet today, ask yourself, pull up one of your wallets, ask yourself, how much of this peace of mind really costing you, okay? Because in 2025, the difference between passively holding and actively position, it isn't just the yield, it's the wealth acceleration of getting you to that next figure. If you're at 4 figures or 3 figures right now, and your goal is to get into 4 figures, okay, that's fantastic. If you're at 5 figures or 4 figures, then get to 5 figures, e.g. $1,000 to 10K, 6 figures, 100K to $1 million, you get the point. You can do it a lot faster if you know what you're doing, by getting more coins in your assets to then sell them for the dollar value in the peak run. So the solution and framework I got for you is you can hold, earn, and compound. So we all know the problem, idle cash or idle positions, they cost you money. As I'm making this video, my pools are printing me extra coins, extra stable coins, and all the positions I've got. The question every smart investor asks is, how do I make my crypto work without putting it at stupid risk? And that's why I'm going to give you my 3-tier fee allocation model that comes in. And again, I charge for this in my private community. Not everything, but this is just a quick free bit of advice. By the way, if you want to join our community, you can book an absolute free call. There's no obligation to buy. I would just love to speak to some of you guys if you want to position your portfolio to do this. And this is simple, it's scalable, and it keeps you safe while staying productive. So number one, obviously we talked about the hold, the hodl, the foundation. This is your base layer, right? 100% of my $1.3 million in cryptocurrency is not in yield farming positions, LP positions, etc. I still have my long-term holdings, okay? Cold storage, the assets you don't touch. Think Bitcoin, Ethereum, HBAR, Solana, whatever you actually believe in. This layer doesn't earn yield, although you can do that if you want. It's about conviction and long-term exposure. Now, this could be 40 to 50% of your portfolio just in this layer 1, tier 1 hodl position. Your hodl for the security and conviction is not income. Now, again, as you scale, you can decide to do this to play catch-up, so just keep that in mind. Tier 2 is when you're going to earn. This is the engine. This is the turbocharger that you put in your Lamborghini, your BMW, your Vauxhall Crosser to make it sound good, okay? This is the opportunity cost, because opportunity creates income. It's your capital efficient layer, getting yield on the coins you believe in. If you have a real estate property, right, and your goal is to get income on it, well, you can do 2 things, okay? Number one is you can wait for the house prices to go up. And, through bear and bull markets, even the real estate with stocks, etc., real estate goes up, it has its troughs, etc., etc. So if you buy a house for 100K, probably in 10 years' time, it's probably going to be, 150K, 200K, right? But obviously, real estate, what you would do in between that 10 years' time is you would get income. If that's $1,000 per month, whatever the mass would be in your area, why would you not put a good tenant in there for 10 years? Because think of all that extra income you could do to pay yourself, or to put in cryptocurrency, or to buy an extra real estate property, etc. You wouldn't just do number one, right? Why would you? You would put a tenant in there unless you wanted to live there yourself. Of course, you would put a tenant in there. That's the 2 opportunities you have in real estate. Well, you bank on appreciation. Obviously, you get to save more money with inflation. But, unless you're living there, of course, everybody knows to put a tenant in there. It's the same with cryptocurrency, but nobody talks about this. You have, for example, XRP and Ethereum. Well, you get that price appreciation like real estate. But number 2 is the same with real estate. Nobody wants to talk about how to put that to work and to create more income on your coins. There's nothing different here. The only difference is nobody knows about option number 1 or option number 2 like they know about option number 2 in real estate. Now on this section 2 earn tier, this could be low to risk plays generating 4 to 12% per month that we just talked about. The only risk here is the coin going down, but you were holding this anyways. That's the whole point. If you have XRP and Ethereum, like the example I gave you, and it goes down in value, well, you're still going to earn fees and you're going to be buying cheaper fees on your LP positions, but you might be thinking, oh, it's going down, etc. But you held them anyways. So there's no really difference. If the real estate market crashes, well, you held the house anyways. You're still getting that income. That's the caveat, and that's the point of this video. So this tier pays you monthly. In fact, it pays you daily if you start compounding this, and this is where your crypto starts working for you. And a lot of people think this is the same mistaken. You do not have to lock up your assets, like some platforms make you do on crypto.com, Coinbase, etc., for like 1 year, 6 months, 3 months. You are fully liquid here. I do not touch staking platforms. I touch LP positions where I can remove my assets if I want any single second of the day. This could be 30 to 40% of your portfolio. Now, tier 3 is when compounding. This is where stuff gets fun. This is the growth layer. This is your active yield zone. This is the experiment layer where you can test higher your plays. So higher risk here, but higher upside. But here's the rule I want to give you guys, and I want you to stick with this because it can be very addicting once you start seeing fees come in your coins to jump the layer and keep scaling pills. You only use tier 2 to fund this tier 3 bucket, never your core holdings. So the way you earn yield, it generates new opportunities without putting the base at risk. E.g., you can never lose this way as your free bets. Think 20 or 10% to 20% of your portfolio. Example, I had that Brett and Ethereum position that paid me $50,000. I then went to start a tier 3 compound position, which was AVAX and Black, and that's printing me, think about 1 to 2 to 3K every single month. It depends on the fees. And then also in that Brett position of about $50,000, I started a Zora and Ethereum position. Now, these are 2 risky positions that could well and go to zero, but they're free bets because the Ethereum and Brett position that I showed you before funded these 2 $6,000 positions. So I took 50K, I subtracted 12K, and I'll have $38,000 to either compound, do another pool, etc., or take on more riskier bets. The difference is people will jump to this and take a bet on AVAX and Black, and it could work out well. I think it will. That's why I'm holding them. But if they don't, you didn't have your base layer, tier 1 and tier 2, pay for this for free. That's the difference. And then you come back to this. So this is the flywheel machine that you're trying to create. So hopefully that was valuable. And that is exactly why holding crypto in a wallet costs you money and understanding opportunity cost. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Share it with a friend if you're interested in this. And again, if you want to book a free call, you can do in the free calendar below. I'd love to speak to you some guys, and peace and take care.